Hi everyone! In this tutorial, I wanted to do a quick walkthrough of using Pear Deck Vocabulary. If you log into peardeck.com, so go to peardeck.com, go ahead and log in as a teacher. Once you do that, you'll be able to start a vocab list. So today we're just going to be focusing on the Pear Deck Vocabulary. This is designed to put in a term and a definition, and then students will give their own meaning to that with text and a drawing. So let me go ahead and jump over here to talk about some creative ways that I've seen Pear Deck Vocabulary being used here at Bullis. So the main purpose of Pear Deck Vocab, and this is from the Pear Deck team, is to increase retention and engagement with this fun team-oriented vocabulary game. Let students work together to create the best example sentence and illustration for your vocabulary term. So that's really what it's about, for students to be creating an example and an illustration of your vocabulary term. So them putting meaning to that vocabulary, not just about defining words. At the end of the game, you're going to be able to review as a class and select or reject the terms so that students can study from that after the fact. This does not have to be just straight up vocab practice. This can also be have students come up with clever drawings, comics, puns, etc. to help them learn new terms. Have students create sentences using keywords from the unit. So instead of asking them to define what the word means, have them use it in a sentence. Have students use vocabulary terms to create mini illustrated scenes in a story. So again, give some context to this. Do something creative, like he blanked the pizza, and the team with the most creative responses will be awarded the point. So they would choose a word to fill in that blank for you instead of just doing, a term definition. You don't have to use Pear Deck Vocab in that way. So just as an overview of what we're going to be doing is you're going to create the vocab list. So you do that, the term, the definition, and then you're going to play the Flashcard Factory game. So what it's going to look like is students are going to be put into 2 teams, and each team will be in partners. So one student will be asked to do the drawing end, and one student will be asked to type in text. They have to do that together. So they will sit together, they'll work on that together, and then they will submit it, and then you'll get into this quality control phase where you either accept or you reject each term. And then the final option is to leave the factory or print or export your set. You'll have 2 options. One is to print the flashcard set, and the other is to export the set to Gimkit so that they can study from it after the fact. So let's get into this. I'm going to just name it sample set. So my first term is going to be teaching. Then you can type in a definition. You can also look for definitions here, but you don't have to. So I could say effective study techniques. Say that I want students to talk about that. I can leave the definition blank, and then I'll show you what that looks like. So I'll show you what everything looks like. So I'm going to just go with these 3 terms right here and keep it simple for right now. Let's go ahead and play Flashcard Factory. As I said, in this particular example, I'm going to do that one without a definition just so you can see what it looks like in case you want to use Pear Deck Vocab in that way. So I'm going to start the game anyway. At this point, go ahead and press clock in, and then you're going to have students join just like they would join any other Pear Deck. So they're going to go to joinpd.com, and this is going to be their code. Now, I can't log in as 5 different people at the same time right now. I should have done this when I had other people to help me create this tutorial. But I logged in as myself and as student 1. So I've been put into 2 different groups, the day shift and the night shift, and I'm going to have to play on my own today. They've told me, you're on your own today. Good luck. I'm ready to go. And so this is a student end, and now on the teacher end, it's going to look like this. As soon as everybody's joined, it's going to put them into groups. I can shuffle the teams if I don't like the groups, and then let's play. Now, let me go to the student end. I have been given the term teaching, and here is the definition that I have written. Okay, so these are the things that I put in. Now, as a student, it says first, go ahead and draw an example of teaching. So I can draw that. Teaching makes me happy, so I'm just going to put a smiley face. And if they needed to insert some text, they could do that. They would type it first, and then it's like a stamp kind of like. That's how it works. And then I'm done drawing, and then they'll be asked to also write the term. Normally, I am paired up with somebody. One person's going to be writing and one person's going to be illustrating. And so that team should be talking to one another so that drawing and the writing match up. That's kind of the goal. So I'm done with that. So this is now going to be one completed card, and they can edit it until they say looks good, ship it. All right, so that's the student end. I'm going to say looks good, ship it. So now I can't edit that anymore. And now on the teacher end, I'm going to see that one card has come through. So I can't click on that card, I can't see that card until we get to the next phase, but I can see that one of the terms have been done. So now let me go back as a student, and the second term, draw an example of effective study technique. Effective study techniques was the one where I only gave the term and I did not give the definition. So this could be a way to ask students just the term and ask them to give the definition, or ask them to use, that term in a sentence without giving them the definition. So again, that is a way that you might want to use this. Relating the new information to prior knowledge. I don't know. I can't submit because it's missing an illustration. Connecting. It's a two-way street. All right, there we go. So now on the teacher end, let's say that I'm done. I got the 2 terms, I'm happy with it. I can see those 2 terms coming in on my conveyor belt, quality control. So now we can review this as a class. I pull this up on the projector. It doesn't have a student's name attached to it, but we can talk about it. And then, is this a term that we want to accept and we want to export to our final set to study from? If it is, then we are going to accept it. And if it's one that doesn't look good, and I can toggle through them, okay? If it's one that doesn't look good, I'm going to reject it. And so now I'm done. So then your last step will be to either leave the factory or print or export your set. So when you print or export your set, you'll have 2 options. One is to print the flashcard set, and the other is to export the set to Gimkit, which is a way that would allow students to play a little game after the fact. Both of these options will pretty much allow students to review the cards after your session. So it is a great idea to choose one of these so that it can be a review for students after the fact. I'm going to start with printing the flashcard set. And that pops open something that wants me to print, but basically I could save this as a PDF or I could print it out depending on what I want. So for all the terms that we had accepted something, you see the picture and you see the definition, also the example that was given by students. So these 2 things were generated by students. And for any terms that you did not accept one for, so say that the class did not come up with a great answer for one of the terms, like this one here, it will leave the picture field and the example field blank. So this could be something you send home and ask students to revise with their notes, fill in, and come back the next day to have a discussion about those terms that were not satisfied yet in the classroom. So that could be an idea. If you go to print these flashcards, you'll see that they're made so that they're very easy to cut out. If students want to actually make flashcards, they can just cut 4 cuts and then fold them to actually make some flashcards for themselves. So I really like that they can physically have flashcards to study from. I know that I personally use this for AP prep, and it's great to have some flashcards that students can study. So now let me show you the other option, which is export to Gimkit. So all you have to do is go to the set, and then you'll see all of my flashcards are here. I only had done one for this example, so this is that one. You can see that what it's done is it's put this as the question, and then this as the answer. That's a question, and then the green is the answer. Now I'm gonna go ahead and log in to my Gimkit account. Now, once you get to this link, you can, of course, just go ahead and play the set. But a report will not be generated. Reports are only made for kids in your account. I'm going to start with a simple option of just playing. Log in as a student quickly. Then on the teacher end, start the game. Back to the student. I can just choose the answer and play as I normally would in Gimkit. So you could play this at home or you could play this at school as a way to review. Now let me get into the option. If you do want to add this to your account, you can just copy it right there, and then we'll copy into your account. That would also give you the option to edit the set if you want to change any of the questions or the answers. You can just edit the question right there, and you can change the multiple choice answers that are given. Also, if you didn't want it to be multiple choice, you can change it to text input. But then keep in mind that for students to get the answer right, they have to have the exact same answer that you gave, so that can be difficult. Once you made all the edits that you want, you can just finish the kit and then you can play right from here. If I go back into this set, one other thing that's good to know is if you export, this gives you the option to flip the question and the answer, because sometimes the way that they pose the question, they give the definition, and sometimes you want it the other way around. So you can just flip the question and answer, and then you can copy that text. You could create a new kit, create with flashcards, import flashcards, paste your text there, create. And then as you can see, everything is flipped, just like that. So those are the two ways that students can study after the fact. You as a teacher can print the flashcard set for them, or you can export the set to Gimkit and give them the link so that they can play there, or you can do both. After you're all done, you can leave the factory and that will close your session. If you go back to your peardeck.com and you click on your sessions, you'll see the Pear Deck vocabulary there. So any normal Pear Decks would be type slides, but any vocab would be type vocab. And so that's just where it's stored, and you can go back in and always launch it again. So that would be the session. I can click on it and I could launch it with another class if I want to launch it with multiple periods. That's how I would do it, just from peardeck.com. Okay, that's it. So I hope this quick little preview helps you understand some basics of using Pear Deck vocab. Bye.